Good afternoon, dear viewers, and welcome to our daily live coverage on the latest regional news as we dive into the latest updates and provide you with breaking news up to this hour. Where does the Memorandum of Understanding between Washington and Tehran stand in relation to its primary objective, which was to avert the specter of a wider war? The memorandum's provisions are now subject to conflicting interpretations by both Tehran and Washington. The matter has not been limited to diplomatic posturing. The exchange of attacks between American and Iranian forces has returned the diplomatic process to a state of complete mistrust and to a struggle over who holds the upper hand in dictating the rules of negotiation and engagement. Now, this afternoon, I will be joined in the studio by former Major General Staff Pilot Yusuf Abdurrazzaq Al-Mullah, Specialist in Risk, Crisis and Disaster Management, to further discuss latest developments, the future of Memorandum of Understanding, the escalation in the Gulf and the wider regional implications. Less than a month after the signing of a Memorandum of Understanding between the United States and Iran, the agreement is facing its most serious test yet. Renewed military escalation and mutual accusations of violations have raised fresh questions over whether diplomacy can still contain the crisis. Let's get more details in the report and then come back to you with our guest in the studio.
Less than a month after the United States of America and Iran signed a Memorandum of Understanding, the agreement appears to be facing its most serious test so far, amid renewed military escalation and mutual accusations of violating its terms. Washington accuses Tehran of being behind attacks targeting navigation in the Strait of Hormuz. Iran, however, says U.S. military strikes were the first to undermine the agreement, arguing that its response came in defense of its interests. At the center of the crisis is the Strait of Hormuz, one of the most sensitive flashpoints in the dispute. Its importance extends beyond global energy supplies, as it also represents one of Iran's strongest strategic pressure cards. Any escalation in the waterway could quickly affect oil markets and international trade. The Lebanese file is equally complicated. Washington and Tehran appear to differ over the interpretation of the de-escalation provisions, while continued Israeli occupation military operations in southern Lebanon are viewed by Iran as a challenge to the spirit of the understanding. At the same time, several major issues remain unresolved, including Iran's nuclear program, U.S. sanctions, maritime security, and Tehran's regional influence. Despite the latest escalation, neither side has formally withdrawn from the agreement. Both continue to express support for negotiations, even as they exchange blame for the renewed tensions. Meanwhile, mediators, particularly Qatar and Pakistan, are continuing their efforts to preserve the agreement and prevent the region from sliding into a broader confrontation. The central question now is whether diplomacy can contain the escalation or whether the fragility of the understanding will lead to another round of conflict.
To further discuss the latest developments and to analyze the security, strategic and crisis management dimensions of the ongoing escalation in the region, I am delighted to welcome in the studio retired Major General Staff Pilot Yusuf Abdurrazzaq Al-Mullah, Risk, Crisis and Disaster Management Specialist. Mr. Yusuf, welcome with us here in the studio to discuss the latest we have on the situation.
Pleasure to be here, Mr. Abdurrahman.
Well, Mr. Yusuf, now if we head straight to the latest developments that has been happening, what makes the latest escalation that we have seen in the region different than the previous round of escalations that has happened?
There is a few differences, and which make this one is special, or the activity, what happened in the past 72 hours, that these escalation happened after signing the Memorandum of Understanding. Before, there was no memorandum. There was some action and reaction, and it continues, stopped for a while, ceasefire, and then continue again. If I may present some facts to clarify this matter, according to facts and not assumptions. The Iranian side put some rules of engagement, let's say, and that anybody want to transfer in or out of Strait of Hormuz, they have to implement these points and stick to it, and they cannot violate these rules
That's right.
of the Irani side put. And now, if they have the right or they don't have the right, that's another matter we can discuss later. But if you see that you make a decision and it leads to, and you know that to lead to risk. So let's say, what's the difference between risk and crisis and disasters? If they think of passing the strait without, putting the rules in front of them, and then they implement the rules to satisfy the Iranian side, then it will be not a risk. But if they decide to break these rules, now they are putting themselves in a risk. Now, when they start and they reach a point and they don't acknowledge the warnings, and they are now targeted, now the risk is increased to a crisis. And if the Irani side shoot this vessel and sink it, now it is from crisis to disaster. So this is the difference. Now there is questions. Why the ships decided to pass and to try to break the rules? Because what they did is created a cycle of action and reaction, a cycle, an action from the Irani side, and then followed by an action of American side, which they targeted 80 targets in Iran. And then they retaliated and hit the Arabian Gulf. So the difference now is, once you see that there is a risk and they are going to react violently, then at least you should be smart enough not to go through this route. But that's what happened. Anyhow, we don't know what is the situation, we don't know, but everybody knows that the crisis of the Strait of Hormuz, it is unstable. We hear fluctuating in news that the strait is open, the strait is closed, the strait is open, the strait is closed. So there is a fluctuation of clearances, and the situation should be respected in this matter. That the ships should not try to take a risk or to take a crisis, because it will implement the others, like the countries in the region. And especially that there is a MOU is on the table, and there is a route going toward stability. So why you have to take a chance? And there's a big question, why you have to take the risks and this stage? So this is the different, and this is the way I see it.
But that's clear. We will also discuss now the Strait of Hormuz in details, but the important question now, will this round of escalation that happened, is it calculated and contained, or would it probably make a resumption of the wide-scale war. How do you see this round of escalation? Will it be contained in the near future at least?
Well, the pointer, the personal pointer, is varying between what if in the future, what will happen in the future, and what is the reaction and action. We see that the Iranian side, they have a strategic card, and they don't have another card. They have only one card,
Which is the Strait of Hormuz.
which is the Strait of Hormuz. They are putting their weight on Strait of Hormuz because they have suffered from previous discussion and previous on Geneva, and there is no trust. So they are cautious. At the same time, the American side is trying to push for reaching a settlement without losing face. And in the same time, there is other parties involved. Netanyahu is not happy with that. So definitely he will push to break any settlement while they are approaching on the discussion between Iran and so it is complicated, and sometimes you can see that things are clearing out, and suddenly there is a storm coming. So you have to go high altitude and focus strategically on the situation and why this is happening. So, but the word war, I don't use, because war have different procedure, different steps, different clearances from the Pentagon. And then if the United States go and declare war, now the NATO will be involved also, because
that was a question I wanted to ask you. If this confrontation keeps on going, would other parties be involved to de-escalate, or maybe to join?
Well, we know, if we remember that when Trump asked the NATO to participate on joining the vessels and to keep them safe during in and out of the strait, and the NATO answered that this is not a part of our duties.
It's not their wars.
It is not a part of our duty. Because there is some kind of a character, and Article 5 in this, on the NATO, it says that any attack on one country, it will be considered attack on all countries.
On others.
On the others. So they should join together, all together. And that's why by saying that Ukraine, why it's happening with Russia, because they wanted to join the NATO, and if they join the NATO, they will pick up force.
It will be more difficult for Russia to hit
It will be
Ukraine.
more difficult for Russia. And if we have time, and I will wait for the right minute and throw some also a major important points.
Yeah, we'll come back to that. But also, since we're at the Strait of Hormuz now, do you think the Strait of Hormuz will be the key point or the key tool that will disrupt the negotiations between Tehran and Washington? Because most of the confrontations that is happening or been happening is at the Strait. And as you said, Tehran does only have this one.
Tehran have only one card. And this is a strategic and powerful card. It is not involving the Gulf states. It is not involving only United States. It is not involving Iran. It is involving the whole world. The economical situation is in a critical position. 25 to 20 to 25 amount of oil is going through this strait. Other straits on the whole world, Panama, Suez Canal, Bab el Mandeb, Jabal Tariq, they are not facing this issue. Why? Because there is a gather of few countries that they are in charge of providing the whole world with gas and with oil. So that's why it is so important, and not just for the world, for the whole region. So to control the strait, then you are controlling the economic issue in all these 6 countries. Whoever is providing the power to control the strait, then he have the upper hand on the situation.
Yeah. Well, yeah, go on.
And United States is trying to get the upper hand. They cannot be number 2 because they are the only superpower country in the whole world. They are doing things that nobody can tell them no. They kidnapped the Venezuelan's president from his bed, and nobody ask him why. So they force sanctions on other countries, like Qanun Caesar on Syria, like raising the taxes on major countries and super countries like China. And they made some sanctions on Russia. There is some kind of restriction of
on its
selling
oil, and the banking system.
And banking system. So they force countries to join them in these sanctions, whether they like it or not. So they cannot be number 2. They want to be on a high stage of alert and react on the situation, and maybe they will maintain that position.
Well, that's clear. Mr. Yusuf, we'll continue our discussions now, but first we will take a report and we will be back with you. Despite heightened tensions and recent military exchanges, diplomatic efforts to contain the crisis between United States and Iran remain active. Regional mediators continue intensive contacts while technical negotiations are moving ahead in an attempt to preserve the current framework for dialogue.
Even as tensions remain high between Washington and Tehran, diplomatic channels are still open, signaling that both sides are keeping the door to negotiations alive. According to U.S. officials, technical discussions between the United States and Iran are continuing, focusing on implementing the existing Memorandum of Understanding and preventing further escalation. The United States has reiterated that diplomacy remains its preferred path, while maintaining that it is prepared to respond to any threat targeting international shipping or U.S. forces in the region. Iran, meanwhile, has accused Washington of violating previous understandings through recent military actions, warning that it will respond if further attacks are carried out against its interests. Against this backdrop, regional mediators, including Qatar and Pakistan, alongside other regional partners, have intensified diplomatic contacts with both governments in an effort to reduce tensions and pave the way for another round of indirect negotiations. The current discussions are aimed at preserving the diplomatic track despite growing mistrust following recent incidents in and around the Strait of Hormuz and the exchange of military strikes. Analysts say the coming days will be critical in determining whether both sides can maintain the fragile diplomatic process or whether renewed military confrontation will overshadow ongoing negotiations. For now, diplomacy and deterrence continue to move in parallel, with negotiators seeking to prevent the latest crisis from developing into a broader regional conflict while keeping prospects for future agreements alive.
And now we are back with our guest here in the studio, Mr. Youssef, to continue the discussion on the Strait of Hormuz and beyond of such issues that's happening in the region. Mr. Youssef, we're back with you. And now, since we are still talking about the Strait of Hormuz, do you think that this file could be referred to the Security Council for a vote that could happen at a global scale?
The possibility is there to discuss this on NATO as in general, and then refer it to the Security Council. But who will assure that it will not be reviewed?
Just a minute, there's a technical issue. We'll have to take a break and we will be back with you.
Okay.
تؤكد جمعية الهلال الأحمر الكويتي جاهزيتها للاستجابة للطوارئ والكوارث في ظل الأوضاع الجيوسياسية الحاصلة في المنطقة. جمعية الهلال الأحمر الكويتي تعمل من ضمن منظومة إنسانية متكاملة مع مؤسسات دولة الكويت من حيث الاستجابة السريعة وتجهيز المتطوعين من ضمن أفرقة مختلفة للاستجابة للطوارئ في سرعة قصوى. يعد متطوعين جمعية الهلال الأحمر الكويتي من المتطوعين اللي تم تدريبهم مكثفاً في الإسعافات الأولية والاستجابة للكوارث والاستجابة الميدانية. تؤكد جمعية الهلال الأحمر الكويتي جاهزيتها الميدانية ورفع جاهزيتها من حيث الاستجابة للطوارئ في حالات اللي يتم ندائها. بالنسبة للمخزون الاستراتيجي لجمعية الهلال الأحمر الكويتي فإحنا على أتم الاستعداد للاستجابة في حال النداء من قبل مؤسسات حكومة دولة الكويت.
And we're back after this short break with our guest in the studio, Mr. Youssef. Mr. Youssef, so we were discussing the issue of the Strait of Hormuz. We were speaking about the Strait as a file, and if it could be referred to the Security Council as an international matter now because of the confrontation that is happening for an international vote at the global scale. Do you think such scenario would happen?
It is possible that the United Nations, discuss this issue in general and then refer it to the Security Council to make a resolution. But who can assure that it will pass and there will be no country use the veto? And we know that there is two major countries, Russia and China, have the right to use veto to cancel any resolution on the table. So I don't think that the resolution will pass to force Iran to do what the resolution is saying, opening Hormuz, avoiding to target the ships and so on. So it is a dead end at this stage.
Are you saying that it may not be the best option, given that countries with veto could use it, such as they used it in the past in such scenarios?
You know, the situation in the region, in the Middle East region, it is connected to a plan which is Condoleezza Rice talked about, which is the New World Order. And in the past 45 years, the region is under stress and from conflict to conflict to conflict. And what we see now, from my point of view, that these programs are continuously implemented to this region and the other regions. And there is also the new Middle East project. And under the new Middle East project, there is the great Israel project. And from last year to now, till today, is the Ibrahimi project. So these projects are carpeted 30 years in the future. And there is changes happening to them, to each project, to see if the project is on the straight line and is going on the same speed and time and everything is okay. They will just clarify it. Or if it is tilting away from center, then they make changes to put it back on the center.
But given what you're saying, the strikes are still happening. We've seen heinous strikes on the region recently by Iran. How do you think we should address these strikes, by international security guarantees or as the US response we've seen?
I don't think that they can force, or they have pressure to force Iran not to stop the attacks on the Gulf countries, and they cannot ask United States not to target Iran. So the both side is not under the control of the Gulf cities. Now we see that the whole world is affected economical wise, and still United States did not bother, or Iran did not bother. The Gulf state is being patient, and this is wisdom of the leaders in the Gulf countries. And now they are implementing a self-defense. And that's the best thing they can do to avoid any casualties, any destruction, any issues that it will create a chaos in the region. We see, but the Iranis are, they don't have a limit. They are suffering from the American attack, and they are pointing finger to the Americans that they are targeting civilians' facilities, and at the same time they are doing the same. So for you it is an issue, and you have to, and you are suffering from, and you are doing the same for us, where our children is not sleeping at night, and there is casualties, and one young girl killed in one of the attacks. So I think there is no any party that can participate to make it less or to make it disappear. I think also that to keep this situation clear to all the Gulf countries is they have to be as one hand and deal with the situation all together, and maybe that their unity will create a louder voice that the parties can listen to.
Mm-hmm. But why do you think the US hit Iran lately? What message was the US trying to deliver?
As I said a while ago, that they cannot see Iran targeting ships and they cannot react. Now their reaction, they give it a frame of it. We reacted because of self-defense. They cannot say operations. Because the Congress, they have issued. They
have made a vote to limit
the Trump's activities, military activities in the region.
It's still going. They're trying to.
So they put another umbrella, which is the self-defense. But self-defense, they targeted 80 facility in Iran. I think once United States push Iran to do something unacceptable, so they can react. At the same time, Iran is doing something that they know that by targeting the ships, that United States react. So both sides are trying to escalate the situation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we are in the middle as a countries.
That's clear. Now, let's move to the Memorandum of Understanding. Since there is escalation and stakes are high, where do you see the future of the Memorandum of Understanding? Do you see it still in place?
When Trump finished the summit on Ankara, the NATO summit, he announced that the MOU is stopped and or freezed. And he did not say that it will be cancelled or they will stop the negotiation or they go away from the memorandum. And this is 2 days ago. He said that stops. But till now, there is no order for the American team to stop the negotiation. So it is, there is a stalemate situation that we are waiting when it will be leveled. So it is still moving up and down. and maybe in the next 2-3 days things will be more clear. But long term, I don't think this will continue. I don't think will. I don't think will because there is no trust. Iran will not clear the Hormuz matter completely till they feel that the American side are doing what they agreed on, raising the sanction, economical sanction, releasing the frozen assets, not interfering with their exporting oil and importing goods. So this will be difficult because there is a lots of challenge in on the basket.
But Trump wants the Iranians to give up the Strait of Hormuz as well. And do you think the Iranians will give up?
No, that's what I tell you.
Yeah, that's what you have been telling me. So it's like you're telling me the memorandum of understanding will end, but we're not sure of the timing when it will end. So it's a matter of time.
Yes,
Because they disagree.
Okay, now it's a matter of gaining time. Who needs time? The Americans need time. The Israelis need time. Why? Because the Americans they lost a lot of missiles. The Iranians lost a lot of missiles, and they want to keep their assets on the region, and the first line, second line of ammunition, third line of ammunition, they should be full. They asked the 5 companies to increase their production 3 or 4 times, no matter what is the cost. And these 5 companies made billions of dollars. And all that need time. So we will go for ceasefire. First ceasefire. They said ceasefire 15 days. Why the American asked for ceasefire?
Which was beginning of April, the first one.
Why? Because they want time for their vessels, 25 vessels, to come to the Arabian Sea and to
do the blockade?
To do the blockade.
The Iranian ports.
On the Arabian Gulf.
Which was exactly after the ceasefire.
Which
was at the 13th of April.
And because of the time of they need to travel and to be deployed on the area and taking responsibility, that's why the 15. So, and after the finishing of the 15, America announced the blockade, the sea blockade. They did not announce it before. They waited ceasefire and then put all the pieces in the same place, and they said it is now a blockade. So and now is after or before signing the memorandum of understanding, also they need time to regain what the losses. And it was a good time also for the Iranian side to regain their losses, shuffling their plans, and settling down after all these attacks. And the same thing Israel, and the same thing United States. And when they are ready, when was the memorandum signed? 17th of June?
Around that time, mid-June it was.
17th of June, okay. Let's say 17, 16, okay. 1 week after signing the memorandum, things were clear. and then the ships, they started moving and finding another route. So it is like teasing the other party to go out of control and pushing him to react. So once they react, and Iranians also targeting and sending drones toward the American ships. This is a challenge. And once you go on this challenge trajectory, then you should assume that there will be a response.
Mm-hmm.
And it will not be a nice response from either side. So whatever the Americans do,
Iran's not attacking the U.S. carriers at sea. They're attacking the region. Are they afraid of?
are
they trying to hurt the region?
But they used to do that on the around the 100 days activity. Now they are targeting vessels. One is from Saudi Arabia and one from Qatar, I believe.
Yes.
Okay, but as I said, why you have to take the risk and to push the region to a higher level of conflict while you can avoid that? Will you take the risk? And you know that you will be targeted. So these are questions that are the answers are not clear. But at the end, I don't think that Iran have the right to target civilian ships,
Mm-hmm.
Especially Qatar and Saudi Arabia participated on
The funeral.
They sent a delegation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that should be respected, at least, that it's an action of goodwill.
Speaking of the GCC, how are the Gulf Cooperation Council countries dealing with such rising tensions, especially at the region, amid their efforts to keep themselves out the war?
I think that what they are doing now of being patient and self-control, and this is a wisdom of the rulers in the country, as I said before. But also the 6 countries, I think this is the time to build a net of railroad.
Mm-hmm.
Trains
Between the GCC?
all the way to Oman, all the way to the ports of Oman and the ports of Jeddah. That's one.
Which goes out to the Red Sea.
Which goes out to the Red Sea and the Arabic Sea, the Arabian Sea. That's one. And paralleled with a pipeline. Not on the same time. Simultaneously build a railroad and build a pipeline, and the pipeline should be close to the railroad track for maintenance. And once you finish the railroad, it will be very easy to finish the pipeline, and then now you have more flexibility. There is a big and major point, if I may say it.
Mm-hmm.
It is related to the matter, but indirectly. On the 2nd of August, 1990, we encountered invasion from a friendly country. And they destroyed so many things, and there is hundreds of civilian casualties from Kuwaiti nationality. Okay, and the whole country was invaded, and we have to ask for support of other countries to help freeing Kuwait. After this, and there is some countries we know, if you go and research on the net, you can see which country was against liberation of Kuwait and which country is with liberation of Kuwait, and this is it's there. After liberation, there was a need for a support to help prevent another invasion, and to work side by side like a military coordination, not a military defense, a military coordination to raise the level of the armed forces, and especially that Kuwait, after the invasion, lost a lot of equipment, military equipment, and the Iraqis stole them all, from tanks to artillery and so on. So after liberation and during the build up of the country, Kuwait bought a lot of weapons, and these companies, they came for training, for sharing knowledge, and for doing exercises, and they stationed in Kuwait. So Kuwait did not invite these military personnel from other countries to attack another country. It is a completely and fully to help self-defense the country, because we've been through the invasion.
Yeah.
Iran think that the American station in Kuwait they are there to attack us.
They're using it as a...
and they are using us to attack.
But they're attacking vital facilities.
But our president, Sheikh Mish'al, Allah يحفظه, he announced that we will not accept to use our land or airspace or sea to attack any country in the region, and that's what should be, that should be clear. And the Ministry of Foreign Affairs asked and the ambassadors that this is the Kuwaiti official situation. So why we are targeted?
Yeah, that's clear about this point.
And if we say, for example, and if we say that they are targeting the American military facilities, not the Kuwaiti military facilities.
But they are attacking vital facilities.
They are attacking water refineries. Airports. KOC sites.
Vital sites.
What else?
Several sites have been hit.
And there is mistargeting where and during the intercept there is casualties on the civilians at the same time. So if I wish we can believe what they are doing, that this is right, but this is not acceptable for us.
Acceptable
at all.
Against international law, against
this is
all forms of
sovereignty, and nobody can accept that stand and only look at what the other side is doing. But at the same time, the wisdom is there, and they are being our leaders being so patient and trying not to get involved, because they know once other parties get involved in the middle, it is going to grow and it's going to grow, and maybe it will lead to World War III in the region.
Mhm. Well, that's clear, Mr. Yusuf. Now, before we wrap up our segment, are there any few words you would like to say at the end?
I think that what I said about the network of the railroad, I think it is the time to work on this project 24/7 to make it ready as soon as possible, because it is a vital project for all the Gulf countries, and especially the countries that they don't have any other route than Strait of Hormuz.
Mhm. Well, Mr. Yusuf, we thank you for your time and elaborative answer here in our studio, KTV2 News. Thank you.
Abdurrahman, thank you for inviting me and to be a part of your broadcast. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, dear viewers, now we conclude today's live coverage. We urge all citizens and residents to continue to get the news from official government sources here on KTV2. We continue our daily live coverage to bring you all the latest developments. Be sure to also tune in at 7 p.m. for our main news bulletin, where we'll be bringing you the latest developments on the crisis in the Middle East. Take care and goodbye.